Our partner Akamai offers TrafficPeak, which is a managed observability platform running on the Akamai Connected Cloud. And it is available as a fully managed SaaS service. The customer just provisions the endpoint, starts sending their data stream to and their SIM data to it, and they're up and running with dashboards in a few minutes. And that's offered by Akamai with Hydrolix software under the hood.
Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartiya and welcome to your Let's Talk. And today we have with us Tony Falco, VP of Product Marketing at Hydrolix. Tony, it's great to have you on the show.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure to talk to you. This is the first time I'm talking to someone from Hydrolix, so I would love to know a bit about the company. Tell us, how old is the company? What problem is it trying to solve for the industry?
The company is 7 years old, and it was founded to solve the problem of a very specific problem, the difficulty and expense of working with high volumes of log data, specifically high cardinality, high dimensionality data that's being generated in massive volumes by machines, CDNs, ad tech, ad bids. Just this explosion in log data, and it's designed to make it both performant and cost effective to retain that for longer.
How would you define log data? And when it comes to challenges associated with where to store data lake, data warehouse, where we want to go, how to extract value from it, where to keep it, what kind of cloud to keep it, and what are kind of challenges that are associated with the log data?
In particular, with high dimensionality data, like lots of fields, and with high cardinality data, it's very inefficient to query it using a lot of the techniques that are out there. So and most importantly, if you look at a lot of the solutions, like observability solutions, because of the difficulty in processing and retaining the data, you have limited retention windows. So you might have retention windows as low as 7 days for some solutions, whereas other solutions, it's 30 days or 60 days is the default. And that's really not enough time to keep data in today's environment. You need data for everything from billing and reporting to machine learning. And so what we've been focused on is building a system that uses a decoupled architecture, so decoupled storage, which is pretty standard now in data lakes. Snowflake's used it, BigQuery uses it, but we use S3 or Azure Object Store. We use the S3 compatible storage for storing the data. And then what we've done to specifically make log data performant is we index every field by default. We're built for streaming ingest and transform on ingest, so that you can combine data from multiple logs into a single table on ingest and query it immediately. And the real key to our cost savings, in addition to using object storage, is the compression. We have an advanced compression technique that gives us 20 to 50x compression, which is about 8 times better than Parquet. And when you put all those things together, it means you can store the data for longer, query it with sub-second latency for needle in the haystack queries, no matter how old the data is, and you can ingest large volumes of it. Millions of events per second is something that we tend to, that's something we can handle. Now, the question that you ask about what kind of value do people get out of it, let's take an example of a retro hunt. You've got logs that are full of signal that maybe some sort of compromise has happened. Nowadays, with systems that don't have this sort of architecture, you're throwing that data away. You're literally getting rid of information that would help you detect and then mitigate a compromise. And companies know they're throwing this data away. They have no choice. Their budgets just couldn't take it. So we try to eliminate that hard choice, that hard choice of having to get rid of data that still has value, that's gone untapped. The saying that data is the new oil. It's kind of a commonplace now, but if data really is the new oil, then why are people using systems that force them to throw away that data after 7 days?
What is the relevance of streaming when it comes to log data? And can you also talk about the volume that we're talking about here?
The streaming data lake is really a name meant to capture the two sides of the system and the way they come together. So the ability to ingest live streams of data, high volumes of log data coming through Kafka, Kinesis, HTTP streaming, but you might have, 5 different CDN sources. You might use 5 different CDNs, plus you have origin logs, plus you have RUM data or monitoring data coming off of your user devices. You want to create a single unified end-to-end view of your environment and take action on that. So we focus on streaming ingest because at that point you can create a single view. You can transform all the data as it comes in, create one schema for it, one table for it, and then you can query it on ingest, which means you can take action in basically near real time or soft real time, to mitigate problems and to do whatever you need to do to make sure that your quality of experience is for your customers is great. So, the importance of streaming is that you get the data in fast and you can take action, and the data lake concept is really quite standard at its core. We store it once. We store it once, and many teams can use that data. So it's that paradigm of a central repository or a hub, and we're designed specifically to allow teams to provision query resources by workload. There's a query isolation or independence of workload. And you say your data science team can stand 20-second latency, but wants to be able to do searches across the entire corpus of data that might be several petabytes. You provision a query pool for them that they could use, but perhaps your operations team needs to have sub-second latency on their queries. You'd assign the resources and make the budget and the resources to have the compute resources to do that kind of a query. So we give them the flexibility that they expect from a data lake, in that you can have multiple users and multiple teams using that same data. And we've just combined that with the ability, really the unique ability to ingest and transform before storing the data.
Can you now talk about your offerings? What does your product catalog look like? Are you folks like SaaS, or is product that folks can download and install?
The primary way that people can use Hydrolix is as software running in their own cloud infrastructure. In part, that's because at the scale that we typically deal with, and you asked about scale, we typically are looking at 1 terabyte a day or more of log data as a sort of starting point where the economics that we offer really starts making a material difference to the business. And so, if you've got a large cloud infrastructure, your discounts are going to be, you will have negotiated discounts with your provider, and you will most likely want to handle that data yourself. You don't necessarily want a third-party data handler in there. So, the most prevalent pattern is for enterprises with large data footprints to operate the data themselves in their own cloud infrastructure. We do offer managed services where we will provide the operations team that actually manages it for you, and that pattern's becoming much better, much more prevalent and better understood. And we are going to be delivering a SaaS offering later this year. So we really sort of encompass all the delivery methods, but we started first and foremost with software that can run on your VPC.
Right. And of course, we kind of live in a cloud-centric, cloud-driven world. Can you also talk about if you have any SaaS-based offering, and if yes, what are those?
Our partner Akamai offers TrafficPeak, which is a managed observability platform running on the Akamai Connected Cloud. And it is available as a fully managed SaaS service. The customer just provisions the endpoint, starts sending their data stream to and their SIM data to it, and they're up and running with dashboards in a few minutes. And that's offered by Akamai with Hydrolix software under the hood.
When it comes to observability, depending on who we talk to, it can be seen, from different perspectives, different lenses. How do you look at, observability from, once again, Hydrolix perspective, and how this collaboration between Hydrolix and Akamai is kind of helping kind of remove some of the complexities that are associated with observability.
First of all, I think observability is really at its core understanding as companies have moved more of their business online and more of the customer experience is digital. They need to understand both the economics of that delivery and the quality of experience for their end users. And observability is at its core today about understanding really the state of your business and the quality of your business's product online. So, observability as a broad term has a really profound, it used to be sort of seemingly restricted to just the infrastructure, infrastructure teams caring about observability. But it really impacts so much of what a business is today that it's taken on a much more important role. At the same time, costs have been going up tremendously. I saw, there's a couple of blog posts where I've seen people say, 20% of their budget can go to observability, which seems like a lot, and one of the things with the partnership with Akamai is that we've been able to deliver an observability solution that is about 80% less expensive than the incumbents. Now, that's in part because of Hydrolix design, but it's also because of the Akamai Connected Cloud, which is a really great pairing between our technologies. Akamai is a company that really gets scale sort of in its DNA and being able to scale up. And I think the last point I'd like to make about the Akamai observability product with TrafficPeak is it's very much, its main focus to start with is data specifically created by Akamai customers using the Akamai suite of services. And you see observability become both more broad, but also very solution focused. You can have observability for your CDN, observability for your SIEM. They're all really answering the same question. What's the quality of experience of my end user, and what's the quality of execution of my business? Now with TrafficPeak, we're also seeing other data sets come in. People realize the power of the Akamai Connected Cloud plus Hydrolix, and we now see people bringing in other CDN data, and they're beginning to explore other places other types of data that they can store on TrafficPeak.
What kind of adoption you're seeing of TrafficPeak with both Hydrolix and Akamai customers, and what is driving this adoption, this demand?
That's it's an exciting question to answer. We've seen just breakneck growth. I mean, the explosive growth in TrafficPeak adoption has, I think, really been a pleasant surprise for everyone. We started with TrafficPeak and Akamai, entered revenue service in August of last year. And we're at 90 plus customers. We've seen 100% quarter over quarter growth since we launched. One of the statistics that we're fond of quoting is that 70% of the companies that try TrafficPeak buy TrafficPeak. So it really has seen massive adoption, and I think there are two reasons. First of all, there's a need. There's a lack of sort of CDN focused and SIM focused observability solutions for this niche for CDNs. So we addressed together that gap, but also because of the Hydrolix design, you're getting your cost is about 80% lower than other observability solutions. And you can retain your data. The default retention is 15 months, which is, far in excess of what the standard is in the industry. So, customers that can keep quarter over quarter comparisons, annual quarter over quarter comparisons as a default are just have a much better, just to have an advantage versus their competitors in understanding their business and being able to, to plan and to troubleshoot.
Are there any exciting success stories of TrafficPeak that you have seen that you can share with our viewers?
One of my favorite stories, and it's a favorite just from actually capturing the testimonial, is the Elk Chop story. Black Friday last year. Elk Chop is the largest electronics retailer in Scandinavia. They've got, I think, 900 stores, and they've got a very large online presence. At the beginning of Black Friday, they saw an incipient denial of service attack, a DDoS attack, and they were able to use TrafficPeak to stop it, to mitigate it. And what was funny about the talking to them afterwards is they said we were able to instantly stop this DDoS attack and had no interruption in our Black Friday revenue. And one of my team members, Abby Ross, was like, "Are you sure that it was instant? Sure we want to say instant?" That's like, "No, we want to say instant." So you love to hear that kind of positive feedback, and it really goes to the heart of, again, of Hydrolix's design, the ability to query the data on ingest because of the streaming architecture and the way we've set up our query system. It's fun to see design decisions immediately map to customer problems and to delivering benefits. And that was a great example.
Talk a bit about how has Hydrolix evolved, and what kind of interest you're seeing from the, it could be partners, it could be customers, where they're like, hey, these are some of the pain points that you folks are helping. So I just want to have a holistic view of Hydrolix, looking at the industry in general.
The company's origin was in CDN observability. Sodexis was a company that was founded after one of our founders and CEO Marty Kagan left Akamai, and it was designed to take in all of the data from different CDNs and some end user monitoring and help companies make good decisions about how to route their data. And so it's not a surprise that we've been quite successful in observability and in CDN and media delivery. Where we've been thrilled, or we've been excited to see more traction is, log data is pervasive now. Log data is both pervasive and becoming more useful in different ways. So we see interest and traction in ad tech, security. Security, we talked about retro hunting and getting rid of facts that could help mitigate attacks. If you want to do an advanced persistent threat detection, you need data that could go back years. We see traction in oil and gas, in the completion side of the business. We see interest really, it's once you start, it sounds like a very limited focus. We just focus on log data. But when you step back and you look across the industries and you look at the digital transformation that's taking place, log data as a category is just exploding, and people need to work with it. And you brought up Gen AI. I think what we found is Gen AI is going to help make sense of massive amounts of log data, and old-fashioned dependable machine learning techniques are going to be useful in categorizing and classifying that data. So the more data, AI is a data hungry use case. You can't get enough data. People debate some of the uses of data with log data, but the truth is, if you've got more data to train against and to do things like anomaly detection against, your business is going to be better off. And when we bring it back to what observability is about, really at the end of the day, log data is about understanding your business and understanding the facts and how you can take action on them.
Can you also talk about because we talk about culture all the time. When it comes to, of course, observability space, we do talk about culture, the kind of practices organizations should have. When it comes to log data, once again, whose responsibility is, and what is the role of culture there within companies, and how does Hydrolix kind of become a catalyst to bring that cultural change?
I think the culture, what we see from the culture is, we're encountering teams that have anxiety essentially about the data that they're getting rid of. They know that they're being put into a situation where they may need to compromise on. It's surprising to come across very, very big companies that everybody knows who simply do not capture the data because it's too expensive. And what you see as people find out that they can capture that data and make use of it and store it for a long time is you see the companies beginning to focus much more on quality of experience. They realize that they can do more to impact the business. And I think it brings engineering and operations closer to the customer and closer to the business. There's this direct accountability. They understand that changes that they make in configurations might create a hiccup in a gameplay or in an ad's deliverability. So I think that ultimately what's interesting and I think exciting is that you see teams that want to be accountable, that want to understand how their systems are impacting the business, and by having the log data that we allow them to store for longer, they're able to become more vital to the business and to make sure that they're delivering a great experience for their customers.
Tony, once again, thank you so much for taking time out today to talk about Hydrolix, talk about the whole ecosystem and the role you folks are playing, your partnership with Akamai. Thanks for great insights, and I look forward to talk to you again. Thank you.
It was a real pleasure. Thanks for having me.